Okay. Wow, this is a green pack 1. So we take a green card. There's a Huntsman's Redemption for a 3-mana 3/3 that can then give the board trample in a couple turns. Can also maybe tutor for a creature later in the game. There's an Agatha's Champion for a 5-mana 4/4 that fights something if you bargain. There's an Up the Beanstalk, draws you a card when you play it and potentially draws you a lot more later. And these are easily the best 3 cards in the pack. I think I just take the rare, like a 3-mana 3/3 with some trample upside later. Super, super reasonable. It's really close to Agatha's Champion. I think these are the best two. Removal spell plus creature is always pretty gross, but it is possible to get got with the Champion if they have like mana up for an instant, like a Candy Grapple in response. They can really get you. I take the Redemption. I think both these are excellent. But we'll play the rare. Less opportunities to play around with those kind of things. Now there's a Root Rider Fawn to go with it. It's pretty reasonable. I like Root Rider Fawn a lot for ramping into big spells while fixing mana. There's also a Hopeful Vigil, one of White's best commons that works excellently with a lot of mechanics in the set, like Bargain and Celebration and all that kind of stuff. Glass Casket for decent removal. I think it's basically Root Rider Fawn or Hopeful Vigil, though. Maybe Picklock Prankster's pretty good, but it's a very weird follow-up to the Huntsman's Redemption. I think I just want to take Fawn. Chill with green to go with the Huntsman thing. Best common in the set, let's go. Hamlet Glutton. Turn 4 Hamlet Glutton off of Root Rider Fawn, if I've got a token of sack to it. We gotta draft Blood Moon. We need to shut people's lands off. This 5-color nonsense is not okay. Could have had the double Enchanting Apple. That card is actually a fine finisher in aggro decks. The fact that one of the best ways of stopping the aggro decks is Hamlet Glutton means that any of the active trees and effects have actually become really, really good in the aggro decks. But does that count towards the Porridge deck? Apples and Porridge? We are passing up on a Hopeful Vigil and a Fairy Fencing here. And a Ratcatcher Trainee. But I am pretty happy to just lock in on green here. Pick our second color later and just have an excellent start to any green deck. Really being able to stabilize with Gluttons in the endgame. Use those to flip things around. I would not be surprised if when Arena sends out the email that tells you all about how you drafted the set, if Hamlet Glutton is my most drafted common. Just love that thing. What do we do here? Probably Shrouded Shepherd, because it's got the highest upside by a lot. If we go like green-white, maybe have a little bit of mana fixing with Root Rider Fawn style cards to filter into Cleave Shadows. Yeah, green-white splash in Cleave Shadows could make Shrouded Shepherd great. Troublemaker Oof is reasonable, just because it'll pretty much definitely make the cut, or at least be great sideboard material. But I think the potential upside of Shrouded Shepherd is a lot higher. And now we have a Return from the Wilds, which can find our off-color source, and with double Hamlet Glutton, I'm incredibly, incredibly happy to take Return from the Wilds, because this single-handedly gives you a turn 4 Hamlet Glutton. Gives you a 1/1 and a land, and then you Hamlet Glutton. 3 tempting apples, indeed. What, did you want me to draft an apple deck? All apples? Oh, Mr. Rental. I'm sorry. We found a 4th Ariat's Tempting Apple. Alright, Beanstalk Worm is fine. It's kind of filler level because of how much better Hamlet Glutton is at the 5-mana slot. Could just take a cheeky House Mouse, which is decent if we go like green-white splash black. Anything I take here is going to be pretty replacement level for this deck, I think. I'm just going to take the House Mouse, I guess. Okay. All of these are basically unplayable. Besotted Knight, if we have some royal roll, well, some roll token synergies in general, could make the cut. Stroke of Midnight, if I'm really, really, really low on removal. Worst case scenario, it's a decent sideboard card, I think. But there are very few matchups where I think Stroke of Midnight is actually going to play very well. I'll just take the sideboard fodder. I've already got double Glutton at 5 mana, so it doesn't feel like Clothier is going to make the cut. We don't have room for infinite 5-drops. But it's definitely better than Reindeer, it's definitely better than Verdant Outrider. I'm a rare draft and Fraying Sanity. I've changed my mind. Alright. Definitely take a Genealogist. We need to make sure we have enough 1 and 2 mana creatures for this to consistently get that roll token on the board, but if we do, 3 mana for 3 power and 4 toughness worth of stats is pretty good. Titanic Growth has actually played really well out of the sideboard for me, and main deck sometimes, so I'm happy to pick up one of those. I think we're starting it in the sideboard. We got the Troublemaker Oof to wheel. That makes me real happy. Again, at worst, this is going to be a great sideboard card. That's if we get enough 2-drops to cut it, which might not even happen. Better see a Historic Brawl video with that at some point. With what? Oh, the Fraying Sanity. Look, we could be the double Fraying Sanity deck in the format that has actual 0 cards. I'm going to take Fawn over Return from the Wilds, but Witch's Vanity is also real tempting. Yeah, it's Vanity, Return from the Wilds, or Root Rider Fawn here. I think I'm just taking another Fawn. This will be our 3rd piece of fixing with Return from the Wilds and double Fawn, and then we can really just be splashing for whatever removal we find. And I think this is a slow enough deck that Kellen's Lightblades should be perfectly reasonable removal. And those tend to go decently late. We can find those. Huh. This is about my 20th Gruff Triplets deck, I guess, because sometimes you get past the Gruff Triplets too. Sometimes it just happens. That is so insane. All right. Garruk's Uprising looks pretty bad in here. We have 2 cards that trigger it. And if we're resolving a bunch of creatures with power 4 or greater, then we're already winning. Might take Collector's Vault if we find any really good off-color stuff. We're not married to white yet, so I could take a different color as our secondary color, but none of these cards are really good enough to impress me and get me to do a slight pivot here, like maybe Rat Out or Vermin is worth it, but I'm just going to take the Vault, have more fixing, so we can really do whatever if we see powerful options for that. Maybe we just go mono green, double Glutton, Gruff Triplets, start playing these Titanic Growths. I have not actually went mono green in this format since the early access event, but it was fun. It's probably best to just take like Evolving Wilds here. Still have access to even more fixing, so whatever colors we end up playing, we're just super, super set on. Yeah, I mean, I already have 1 growth. I'm going to grab the Evolving Wilds here. We can still end up mono green. We're not going to need double growth for that, but just have some good options if we don't try to be a goofball. Titanic Growth on Gruff Triplets would be disgusting, but Gruff Triplets does already just like win the game by itself. Alright, Archon's Glory is a really, real good combat trick out of white. I could play Virtue of Strength and get bonus mana when I already have infinite. Or another Troublemaker Oof. I think I just take the really good white combat trick here. We've got a decent Tanglespan Lookout deck, right? Every time we get an aura, we draw a card. We've got one Genealogist. That's all you need, right? You just need one roll token, and Lookout's a great card. Okay, this pack doesn't have anything great in another color anyway. We do have one Bloodline, but I'd really rather not play that. Maybe Lookout makes it worth it. Well, there's another Genealogist to go with the Tanglespan Lookout. There's also a Knight of the Sweet's Revenge, but I think I have one food token in the deck right now. So that's not going to do it. Yeah, I have one Return from the Wild. That's my only food token. This is not going to get there. Iron Crag is reasonable. We've got these big cards, but I'm going to take Genealogist. Let's buff up a Tanglespan Lookout. Get a third Genealogist for the Lookout. See if we can't wheel some Troublemaker Oofs in the end here. Another Return from the Wilds. We're almost mono green, folks. We're almost mono green. I'll just play like 10 forests.
Together, we are unstoppable.
I'll play like 10 forests, 6 plains, 1 swamp, and we'll pretend to be mono green. Thank you very much for the follow. Dismo Plane X? Dismo Planix? Get a Garruk's Uprising with 2 cards that trigger it. That's in the sideboard for now. Another Titanic Growth. Alright, we're obviously going to have like 0 removal if we go mono green, but we actually have 0 removal even if we go green-white right now. We should never play this card, but I guess I can pick up a Gruff Triplets from my graveyard with it. Oh snap, we're green-black. I lied the whole time, we're green-black. We opened a Mosswood Dread Knight. Mono green splash Mosswood Dread Knight? Seems legit. This thing just trades off and keeps casting the Dread Whisperer's Adventure and keeps coming back over and over and over. Super filthy card. Also great on our curve, just a 2-mana 3/2 trample. Looks excellent for this deck. Yeah, we could easily just be green with a swamp for Dread Knight. A lot of ways we could take this. Green-black is probably my favorite archetype in the format. Super gross, and you get to play a bunch of Hamlet Gluttons. My best friend. Well, sorry mono green folks. We are green, white, splash, black still. We've got tons of fixing to make that reasonable, and Archon of the Wild Rose, when I'm already drafting around the Tanglespan Lookout, will sometimes make my whole board a bunch of 5/5 flyers. Not the whole board, probably 1 or 2 creatures, but that's still insane. So, Archon it is. Another Root Rider Fawn is so good. Ramps into the Gluttons, the triplets, and fixes for the white and black spells when we need to filter with it. I am missing out on a Sorcerer roll or a Young Hero roll that worked great with the Archon or the Lookout, but I think the fixing and the ramp is just so good. This deck does have the exact same problem as our last deck. 0 interaction, but we've got combat tricks to use instead. I think this deck is way better at interacting than our last deck, even though it also has like no removal spells. Alright, well there we go. We found a graceful takedown. I'm tempted to take the Ferocious Werefox because it works with the Archon and the Lookout, which is cool, but we gotta just take an actual removal spell at some point. Okay, I'm not gonna go for the double black. Oops, the double black Shatter the Oath removal. I think I will take another combat trick to use. Actually, Archon's Glory is better than the ambush. Oh yeah, Virtue of Strength. It's all coming together. Bargain away our 7-drop. Another Genealogist. Bargain it right out of the deck. Yep. Bargain it right into the sideboard. Maybe Crystal Grotto? Genealogist or Crystal Grotto, really? It's probably going too deep, but I'm going to go for a full play set of Genealogist because Lookout and Archon. Another Evolving Wilds. Or a Scarecrow Guide. Or a Toadstool Admirer. Wouldn't take Glass Casket. Joke's on you. I didn't recognize that card's artwork. Alright, Royal Treatment. Gives us a roll and protects a card. That's pretty good. Scavenger's pretty great too, but I think we have enough synergies for roll tokens that we can go treatment here. We're definitely not playing 3 growth, but it's cute to have the option. Another Troublemaker. So I can always just 2-drop in a Genealogist. Four mana 3/3 with a roll on it. Alright, we missed out on one Glass Casket because I forgot what it looked like. But we found a Moment of Valor, at least in the end. We've got a Stroke of Midnight and a Moment of Valor if we're playing against a deck with really big cards that have to be killed. Then we can do that. You would still go for the mono green? It's possible. I mean, our only like really good white card I would say is the Archon. And we can always sideboard into it. 2 Evolving Wilds for mono green. I think we play 1 Swamp. But maybe not. Triple Root Rider Fawn is a black source. You know, the nice thing about going mono green is I don't have to cut anything. That's the deck. If I cut all the white cards, that's the deck. And we always have that sideboard into green-white. Easiest deck build? Simplest deck build? Somehow we're going to mill our 1 Swamp. We don't even have any self-mill, and there's no cards that mill our opponents. Or there's no cards that mill opponents in this format, but somehow our 1 Swamp is going to end up in the graveyard. And our Evolving Wilds in return for the Wilds are not going to work. Just you wait. Okay, these are basically more creatures, as is the Huntsman's thing. So 3 more creatures than it looks like. 15 to 18 creatures seems good. That's a deck. That's a deck right there. Oh my god, we can Huntsman's Redemption sacrifice like a 1/1 from Return from the Wilds or a 2/2 Troublemaker Roof or something and search our deck for Gruff Triplets. Put it into our hand. So gross. Ooh, very true, Spy Rogue. I forgot about that. There's the Somnophage Adventure. Can't wake up. That could mill our 1 Swamp. Okay. I am happy with this. I'm jamming it. What do we call this pile? Oh yeah, the one of royal treatment's gonna be awesome. Monogruff. Yeah, sure. Thought for a little bit. I'm like, all right, that works. Round one, let's get in there. Mono green with the tiniest black splash and the ability to sideboard into green-white if we need interaction. We don't have great interaction, but we have Moment of Valor and the thing that destroys any permanent turns into a 1/1. So, if we're desperate. You'd go 2 swamps? I definitely don't think this is a 2 swamp deck. We have 2 Evolving Wilds, 2 Return from the Wilds. There's only 1 black card in the whole deck. And it's an adventure, so we don't even need the black source for it. Thanks, Ari Gentov. I have my fingers crossed for greatness from this deck, because it is a fun one. Oh, there's the Dread Knight. Try to turn 4 that. Just keep beating down for now. Turn 4, I draw a card off of it. If I hit another land, we play that too. Really hoping to hit land 4 so that I can draw the card and play the Dread Knight next turn. Hit a Bloodline, that is awkward. Could play a Genealogist and buff this one, but I think with like a 5-drop in hand, we are really looking for lands to the point where I'm gonna cycle to draw. We find a land, but we don't play Dread Knight this turn, so a little awkward. Sleight of hand to cycle that out, grab something else for our opponent. Drop a Crystal Grotto for some beautiful fixing. The world is their oyster. What are you doing, opponent? Cursing my Genealogist. Well, no, they won't be able to curse my 6/6 with that card, at least. Find a troublemaker, oof. I'm honestly unsure if it's worth sacking a royal roll to get rid of a cursed roll. It gives me the exact same board state in terms of power. I guess it's cute. It's fun. I could hit them for 6 more damage this turn. I could hit them for 10, put them to 4, but I think it's better to get more creatures down. So let's go Dread Knight and oof. I guess just... I don't know. It's probably better to not bargain so that I still have that fodder for the Hamlet Glutton. Since it's the exact same amount of power on board, a 2/2 and a 2/3 is probably marginally better than having a 3/3 and a 1/1. But then I don't have bargain materials for Hamlet Glutton, if I want to resolve that soon after. Alright, resolve the 3/4 transmuter for some blocks. Send in the Snare Master sprites. Do not hit a land. I could grab one off of Return from the Wilds, but I think I would rather just try to kill them with Titanic Growth. So let's buff the Trampler, send in everybody, and see what Titanic Growth does about it. That is incredibly dead. 1 black mana up, they could have like a rat out here. Yeah, so I just buffed the Dread Knight and they're super dead. Cool. I guess they could have had the fairy removal spell, and that would have been -3/-3. That would have put them to 1, but they'd still probably lose, so I think that was super reasonable. Well, I'm pretty happy with the way mono green with the tiniest black splash operated, so I'm just going to jam it again. I don't think this is a matchup where we need Stroke or Moment of Valor. They've got like 3/4s is the biggest thing we saw. Some 1/1 flyers, some 2/1s. Yeah, I don't know. I think we run it back for now. We did see 2 1 toughness cards, so the Shrouded Shepherd gets a little exciting. It's for Cleave Shadows. I think I'm just running it back, though. Not a ton of information there. They didn't get to cast a lot before they died. This is kind of slow, and it's not doing a ton. Just get a 1/1 and a land, and then I make the 1/1 a 2/2. I'm actually going to mulligan this. Okay, this does a lot more. I think I just get rid of Bloodline. Trying to get to 5 mana here. So I think it is not worth ditching a land. Land 4. Love to see it. Do we sack an oof to get the triplets? Probably. Oh, but now we have Root Rider Fawn instead. Well, then I don't. Might sack the 3/3. Get the triplets. I could, like, sack the 3/3, get the triplets, and then... Oh. Oh, Lord Almighty. Run for your life, opponent. Leave. Run while you still can. I definitely shouldn't have attacked with the Fawn. They didn't seem to be playing white, but I think it was worth playing around the Kellen's Light Blades because the Fawn is so important. Sack a 3/3, get another Glutton? Probably not. I think I'm perfectly happy. With this stuff. Go all the way. We could. But I think I'm just going to jam in damage. No +2/+2 trample, but I think it's better to leave the 3/3 than get that trigger. I guess I could have sacked the 3/3 to get a land, because it searches for a creature or land. That's the only way to guarantee we're playing Gruff Triplets next turn. But honestly, it feels like even if we're waiting a turn or two for triplets, we're still in an insane position. First the Glutton. We are waiting one more turn for triplets. By sacking a 3/3 to make Glutton a 6/6 again. Oh yeah, I saw the Ixalan full arts they showed off. Those were really nice. I enjoyed those a lot. I think I'm doing this. I could have royal treatmented just to get a royal roll to save the Glutton as well, but I like having it against their next potential removal spell. You will be parting with 2,500 gems once the set drops. That's how they always get you. A big worm comes in. Oh, royal treatment value? Royal treatment value, baby. Oh my god, that makes it a 7/7 against a 4 toughness and 3 toughness creature as well? That's so gross. I could probably even send in the oof, because they kind of have to double block Glutton here. Alright. Here's your triplets. That's sad, Mr. Rental. They do it every time. They give you all the cool stuff to spend your golden gems on right before a new set comes out. They do it to drafters too. They bring back the Arena Cube. They bring back flashback drafts. They're like, yes, gotta empty those gems, so you gotta buy a gem bundle when the next set comes out. Alright, well, that was disgusting. I feel pretty bad for our opponent. Their deck looked pretty good and pretty fun, but this deck is really, really, really stupid. Round 2. White. Get both of our tap lands out of the way. Turn 1 and turn 2. It's pretty cute. Playing against green-red. I hope this is not the same green-red deck we played against last draft, because that deck was nuts. Although, honestly, this deck's good enough, we'd probably win that matchup a decent amount of the time. Maybe not. That deck was really aggressive, and it could get in underneath our slower deck. Alright, this is definitely a very different deck so far. There's a Beanstalk Worm and a Ruby. Both very fun cards. I enjoy them. Alright, well, I've thinned out as many lands as I can from the deck, playing both Evolving Wilds, but we're still finding some more. Might be a good thing if we find a Hamlet Glutton or a Griff or something. A Gruff, not a Griff. You think we have Flying Griffins in mono green? I feel like such a child with this kind of water bottle that has the straw. I don't know why. Well, that's great for our opponent. Bear down on the Huntsman's Redemption. I am a little sad about it. Unless I top deck exactly Gruff triplets, there is no need to put a Root Rider Fawn on board. So I'm going to play Genealogist. So we have one 6-mana card in the deck, and it's Gruff triplets. Any other draw, we can just cast that without Root Rider Fawn's mana. We need more bottles with bendy straws? That's the stuff right there. Imidane. That's pretty scary. They do a lot of damage to me. I'm just jamming with the team and we get to Titanic Growth if they block. If they don't, we save it to maybe kill them. And just play a Fawn and a Oof. Probably just one of the two. Probably just the Fawn, so that I can hold up Titanic Growth against their burn spell they're likely playing next turn. So now they like tap out for a cut-in or something. I Titanic Growth to save our creature. Or they just don't have the Imidane follow-up, which is also possible. Alright, I've still got the Titanic Growth to use on attacks, so send in the squad. Another Genealogist. 6 mana, I can play Genealogist and Growth. 7 mana, I can play Genealogist and Oof and Growth if I don't attack with Fawn. Sure. So just let our 4/4 trade and have our 3/4 get Titanic Growth to win its fight if they just block one on each. If they don't block, they die. Alright. I could Titanic Growth to put them to 2, but I feel like it's worth it to keep our creatures around. Just put them to 6. Get our wide board state. Alright, they're at 6 life, facing 4 solid attackers. There's a 6/7. They've only got 2 blockers. We can deal 5 on board and then just drop a Glutton. So kill the 4/4 for free, kill the 3/4 for free. Go to 1 life. I think that's worth it. They could definitely stabilize at 1 life, though, in green. They can have their own Glutton, and then we'll have a real bad time because our Glutton can't attack into their 6/7. Rest of the board won't be able to attack in there. Crossing the fingers a little bit here in the end. But we would be even if I just slammed down a Glutton and didn't attack. I think then it would be even easier for them to stabilize, so I think that was reasonable. Alright, there's a blocker. They can't attack with anybody, but they're not dead. Ooh. Oh. Well. Now they need to play some more creatures. Didn't have good attacks there, because they eat the 6/6. They eat a 2/3, they eat a 2/2, and they just bounce the 1/3. So if I attacked, we would deal 0 damage to them and sacrifice 3 creatures without killing anything, so that's why we just pass here. Curse killing the Gluttons, very good. Is the last card in hand another creature? Because then they survive, or another removal spell. If the last card's a land, then we still win. It's a flick a coin. What do they draw afterwards? think if it was just a 2-mana creature, they would just slam it down. Yeah, so the desperation attack here. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's well under lethal. They're at 1, yeah. So we can block like 3 or 4 creatures to be really safe and still be guaranteed lethal. So I think I would there. All right. Green-red, they have some big creatures of their own, so I'm not opposed to putting in 1 plains and a Moment of Valor or something. Cheeky House Mouse also makes it so it can't be blocked by the big creatures. This looks like a decent Moment of Valor matchup. Really like the combat tricks against the Curse the Werefox. So I like the double Titanic. I don't want to cut those. Maybe you didn't see any targets really for Troublemaker Oof, so maybe we cut like one of those. Can you add basics if they're not on the sideboard? Yeah. Just do that. Click the land button. Yeah, I think I'm going to drop an Oof for a Moment of Valor and drop Forest 14 for 1 plains. Maybe actually Bloodline would be a better card to cut. Although I could drop Bloodline and put back in Titanic Growth, because I do think combat tricks look pretty good here, so triple growth is pretty fine. Yeah, against any fight spell removal they have, growths are going to be gross, and against any burn spells removal too. That's all the removal they're going to have in green-red. The white sideboard is here. Just 1 card, though. We didn't, like, fully turn into green-white. We just put in a Moment of Valor against a bunch of 4 power and greater creatures. This isn't, like, the full pivot sideboard that I thought might be cute at some point, where we become just, like, green-white auras the deck. Alright. Fawn into Return from the Wilds. That 1 plane's looking awkward. Please do not burn my Root Rider Fawn, although I just drew another forest, so now I don't care. You can kill my Fawn, and I'll still return from the wilds. Mono green, we are having way better time with our mana than our opponent. I kind of like just jamming out a bunch of genealogists right now, since we don't have anything big to ramp into, so let's just start poking. Skewer Slinger. Mildly annoying. Just send a genealogist into that. I don't really want to spend a Titanic Growth on a Slinger this early. And we didn't see a lot of good targets for Oof, so I'm just going to be tapping for that. Get the board wide. Watch, we use these for just a 1/1 and a food at this point. I'm going to at least get a swamp. Yeah, the other's probably just getting a 1/1 and a food. I have the mana to growth and return from the wilds while still attacking with everybody, so alright. Push the aggressive lead that we have while they're stuck off of their second color. No green sources for them. Cool. I'm not Titanic Growth in the face. We'll just save Genealogist. Kill both Slingers. Still feels pretty good. Land in a human. Grab the 1 swamp. Alright, Raid Bombardment it is. That is dead on board. Rough draw for our opponent for game 2. Well, we didn't do anything with the white splash. But that's probably to be expected. With one white card in the whole deck, the odds of us having actually seen it in that game are pretty low. But I guess we'll never know if the white splash was good or not. At least we knew that it really cost us absolutely nothing. Just putting 1 Plains in the deck that has 2 Evolving Wilds and like 13 Forests still. White splash to assert dominance. Oh my god. If we win game 1, should we just splash in 1 island and 1 mountain and grab them off of our return from the wilds and our Evolving Wilds? Just to assert dominance? I feel like the answer is no. Play a Fawn so that next turn I can play 2 2-drops. Dump this hand quick. Mono red so far. Might see their second color off the treasure token. Not yet. Let's play a Fawn and a 2-2. Obviously looking to draw into some big cards. If we don't draw our big stuff, we could just lose this game if they just start playing like 5-drops and 4-drops. Because none of these cards are that impactful by themselves. Like, they resolve a single 4-3 Grabby Giant, we're already just like tied, basically. Alright, there's an Edge Ball pack, and yeah, it does feel like we are already close to behind on board. Two from myself, trade a Royal Treatment and an Oof for an Edge Ball pack. That doesn't feel good. I'm probably just double blocking with a 1-3 and a 2-2 if they send it in. Don't think I hold on to Artifact Enchantment removal against red being all the information that I have. I guess I could bargain the 1-1 kill the treasure. That might have been worth it. Because they're very unlikely to be mono red. They are indeed red-black. Show me the trickeroony. Oh, opponent's gonna hate this right here. Say goodbye to Gingerbread Hunter. Feels good. Feels good. Just insert that directly into the trash can, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now they have 0 blockers on board. So we just start jamming in with 1-3s. Oh wow, they're even just gonna throw the rat at the 1-1, play a 3-3 here, looks like. Yep. Alright, no jamming in then. Oh, it's a 4-4 actually. Well, can still certainly flood out. But being able to hexproof trick against the Gingerbread Hunter helped a lot here. I feel like they're probably red-black, mainly. They just have Gingerbread Hunter off of treasure tokens, because you can just main deck the Puny Snack part. And if you get any treasures, then you drop the Gingerbread Hunter. But I don't know, they might be just full 3-color here. But I think it's probably just a tiny green splash off treasures. Alright, there's Grabby Giant. Yep, edge wall in on black. Oh. Well, I mean, drawing into Gruff Triplets certainly helps. But with the edge wall in to bring back Gingerbread Hunter, I feel like we might still be behind. If they didn't play edge wall in, then I would just be like, alright, Gruff Triplets and we're winning. I don't think we're actually winning right now. I think we're basically tied. Because they've got a 4-4 for the triplets, which is very bad for me. We are probably supposed to chump attack with 1 to turn the others into 6/6s. And roll from there. Because then we have 2 6/6s. They have to spend 2 cards to kill 1 6/6. I guess not quite. Because they can block with a 4-4 and a 4-3. Numbers don't line up super well. They've got the Grabby Giant card draw engine. Witch's Mark to make the sellsword a 5/5. It's also quite good. Now getting easier for them to 1-for-1 into a triplets. Plus black has removal that's just straight up destroy a card. To 1-for-1 kill another triplets. Can turn one into a 12/12 by bargaining it to Glutton, but I think it's better to turn it into a 12/12 by trading it into a sellsword or a combat trick or something on board. I don't actually know if it's better to keep the token or non-token. I'm just going to keep the non-token, I guess. I don't want to be attacking with both because I don't want to get into a position where they both die at the same time and we don't get the value out of the turning one into a 12/12. They don't have the mana to pick up Grabby Giant and use it here. Okay, so Rat Out is the play. Cool. Still a 2-for-1. Still kill the sellsword and the Rat Out. And then just resolve a 6/6. Ooh, the Rat Out to give it -1/-1 makes it 11/11 on the third instead of the 12/12. Pick up the Gingerbread Hunter for their puny snack. For -2/-2. Might be better to keep the token in case they somehow jail it off of a weird splash because they have sack effects. Yeah, if they randomly have like treasure token and a cooped up. I guess, yeah, red-black probably doesn't have anything that like kills a token but not a non-token. Alright, now they're just tapped out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus -2/-2. They could kill the Gruff Triplets with a puny snack, but if I put a royal roll on it, they have to spend puny snack right now, and then I just don't attack. Otherwise they can't puny snack after I declare an attack. So we can just make them spend puny snack, and then just don't send the triplets in this turn. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, we'd kill all 3 creatures. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But now triplets is a 12/12, so they don't have enough power to kill triplets if I don't attack with it till next turn. So I think I just wait till next turn. You're going to make a selfish request? If I'm a game up after this, could we see the green-white Archon deck? Would this be a good matchup for that? think a lot of our white cards are not great against rat out, like the cheeky house mouse and stuff. I could do it. I'm a little nervous because I feel like the deck the way it is probably the best for this matchup. Because they have multiple grabby giants, so like a 4-mana 4/4 flyer isn't even that exciting without the bonuses. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna. I think I would rather just try to go for like the 3-0/6-0 here and just lock in those gems, if possible. It does feel weird to have a draft that just popped off so much that it's like, should we try the 2-color build of this that puts in our other bomb rare? And just be like, I don't think so. I think we're just supposed to still be like mono green, pretty much. That is so weird. But I do think that's the case. Well, hold on. Shrouded Shepherd's actually pretty great here. We saw all these rats in a rat catcher trainee and Edgewall pack. Okay. So, I mean, I don't love the house mouse because of their like rat out of theirs, but the shepherd's like really good. So like just throwing in a shepherd and an archon. I don't want to put in the mice or the mouse. This actually seems like it might be reasonable, and then I cut some oofs. I think we can do it, Mr. Rental. This is at worst probably like comparable to how good just the main deck already is, because now that I think about the aspect of getting the Shrouded Shepherd in here too, kind of balances things out. That's kind of sweet. I don't really want the Moment of Valor, but it does kill the 4/3s at least. So we probably cut the Bestial Bloodline. Cut one of the oofs. They didn't have artifacts enchantments to hit. And then throw in a Shepherd and Archon. We have 2 Return for the Wilds, 3 Root Rider Fawn. Don't need that many planes. Even for the double white of Archon, probably only need 2 planes because we have 3 Fawn that are also white sources. And now we're often evolving Wildsing into the planes each time. I really don't want to lower on green sources that much. I mean, if you wanted me to put like all my white cards in, I don't think I'm doing that, but we can put the Archon in because I already want to put the Shepherd in. Do like that, I think is still reasonable. 11 green sources here. Let's jam it. Let's jam it out. Oh. I want an Evolving Wilds. There's the Archon. We actually don't have any rolls for the Archon either. This actually might be a mulligan. We're not... We have no black for Shrouded Shepherd. We don't even know if we get to play the Archon turn 4, and we don't have any rolls for the Archon anyway. This is actually a mulligan, I think. That's what I say to this hand. This is some silly magic. I think I'm actually going to hold growth to protect Fawn from burn instead of our 2-mana 2/2. Oh my god, and we just draw another Fawn. I'm sorry, Mr. Rental, it doesn't look like we're going to cast any white spells. I'm not sure we're going to cast any white spells in this match. Depends on if they just straight die to triplets or not. Alright. Totem Tans. Oh my god, we're going to cast a white spell. I completely lied. Alright, I have like infinite forests in here and only 2 more plains, so I'm gonna grab the plains and just draw into the 1 more forest. And if they don't kill Root Rider Fawn, I don't even need to draw another forest. Tangle Span Lookout. No rolls right now. We have the Dream Team, but no rolls for them. I could play the Lookout and hold up Titanic Growth to protect Fawn. I think I'd rather play Archon, because if I play Archon, they're just going to use removal on Archon instead of Fawn anyway. Yeah, we get some rolls on the triplets, turn those into flyers. Alright, let's see what nonsense trick they were planning on. Puny Snack. That's pretty good. Soaks up most of their mana, though. Okay, we've got Gruff Triplets next turn. Even without a 3rd forest, so I'm going to grab the 1 swamp. Oh, get the treasure for the Gingerbread Hunter. That is solid value for our opponent. I think they might actually have a chance to grind it out against a Gruff Triplets here. Doesn't feel super likely, but it's possible. And it doesn't feel like a game where I just play a triplets and then I'm just like, oh, I win, lol. Feels like there's still going to be turns that matter after that. What are they doing with this thing? Just more burn all day? Rat out again? They play a Gingerbread Hunter and a Rat out this turn? I'm gonna let Rat out happen. Also let Torch happen so that I can save growth for triplets, maybe. Alright, 1 for 1 or 2-3 off, that's fine. Nowhere near as bad as the Gingerbread Hunter Puny Snack getting us earlier. Here's triplets. Doop. Drop a Grabby Giant, probably just hold up on blocks here. Edgewall in on black again. That Edgewall in to bring back the Gingerbread Hunter.
Together,
putting in some potential work. Thanks for the follow, Utmost Zeal. Oh, there's the Genealogist now that I've lost both of my roll token cards. Both of my cards that care about roll tokens. Do I take down and hold up growth? Or do I just Genealogist hold up growth? I think I'm going to Genealogist and Takedown, actually. Yeah, because Genealogist buffs the Takedown to where I can shoot something with 2 creatures. If they don't have instant speed removal here. Just clear out the 5/5. Oh, yeah. And now we have great attacks with the 3/3s. I think I am... again, supposed to just be sending the triplets in 1 by 1, so we trade off 1 at a time to buff the other 2. Snowball things as much as possible. Because the one time that I've ever beat a triplets, it's because my opponent sent all 3 in when I had 3 3/2s, and I just went, alright, trade into a 3/2, trade into a 3/2, trade into a 3/2. Just deal with the whole thing at once. So, Scream Puff is gonna make me use Titanic Growth, but then the other 2 triplets become insanely big. So, sure. Yeah, they have no cards in hand, so we just send in this triplets, and then we growth it to trade into Scream Puff and make the other two 11/11s? Sure. Plus we trample over, which I totally forgot about. Woo! Triplets is so stupid. Well, another Gauntlet X draft, another several games won by Gruff Triplets. They can kill one and take 1,000,000 now. It's probably dead on board. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 22 minus 11 isn't quite dead. I am out of water. Okay. Magic the Gathering is a game of pure skill. Did I win? I feel like I won at least 50% of the games off Gruff Triplets, which is just stupid. But I think this deck was really, really nice. Even without the triplets, they obviously were the dumbest thing about the deck. But the Hamlet Gluttons were great too. Yeah, if we had the Genealogist early, that would have been a really cool Archon game, potentially. Instead, that could have been pretty sweet. But that was still awesome. This deck was absurd. It was an excellent, excellent traditional draft. Excellent best of 3 draft of Wilds of Eldraine to end things off on here. Sweet stuff. Honestly, we had so much quality in this sealed pool. We could have, well, sealed pool, this draft pool. We could have easily been like green, white, splash the black and still had just as good of a deck. I think the mono green and the green, white versions are pretty comparable in power level. They're both just insane. Deck was ridiculous. Sickest green card since Averbrook Caretaker? That's pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate. Yeah, that was like the fastest 3-0 in the traditional draft. 66,980 gems now, almost 67k. Easy peasy lemon squeezy indeed.